Okay. This doesn't go too crazy or too in depth, but I had just wanted to talk about a little bit the book Between the World and Me. Um, and I'll read like the little description about it. But Between the World and Me is a book by American author Ta-Nehisi Coates. Um, it's a letter, like kind of formed in a letter to his teenage son about his perceptions about the feelings, symbolism, and realities associated with being black in the United States. This was originally published in 2015, but some of my notes were, I think it was very interesting how he kept bringing up the way that the ways in which black people will try to protect their bodies, whether it's from gang violence or being involved in gangs, um, education as protection, um, and a mode to start developing consciousness. Um, One thing I thought was really interesting is he always refers to Howard as this Mecca, which I think I've never really cared for. Whenever people are like, oh, this is my Bible, this is my, like, whenever people do those, like, I guess, larger metaphors, something mention. Um, just because it never can quite grasp, in my opinion, what that, and not that it never quite grabs it, but, like, it's like, okay, for example, because he's saying the Mecca of Howard a lot in this text, and it's like, where he garners a lot of his understanding of black history globally. Well, not globally, actually. Let me take that back. Maybe in the States, just the States. Um, and then later on, it develops for a global worldview. But I think where I'm kind of like, Mecca really is because it's Howard still, even we call different institutions like HBCUs like Howard. Um, I feel like he calls it Mecca, but there's still institutions were that are still largely funded by white people. I think of like, and not that that's bad, but it's like mm, I think because he's talking about the black experience in America and so many facets, and I understand that the collective experience of Howard being like something, you know, amazing being written by this author. And of course, like I went to PWI, so it's like, oh, what do you know, you know? But I think where I'm getting at is like these are still institutions funded by white people that will serve their interests in some way, shape, or form. Like there's a reason why HBCUs continue to be critically underfunded. Um. Anyway, I thought it was very, very interesting. This line where he was like, "Would it be better if our bodies were proved and put to Christian use? Um, the object of our struggle keeps escaping like our grasp. We're the people at the bottom of the well." I think it's very interesting whenever people do reference Christianity, because I I think it's like, I think people's limited understanding shows a little bit. And nothing's wrong with limited understanding, but it's like, I think he even talks about that towards the end of the book. He was like, he was saying, where is it? Okay, I can't find it, but he points out in the book like that he feels like there's some things that when he does show up in the black church or he's interacting with people of the faith tradition, like he's kind of like there's probably I feel like there's something that I'm missing, right? Um which I think is very interesting. Um because I think and that's why I always talk to people about like the way there's been such a disservice to religion in terms of calling it that, because it's like it gets people wrapped up in what they do and not who they are, not how they exist. And um I think that's a disservice, because then you have people thinking like, well, I prayed and I went to church and I read the Bible. And it's like it's about relationship. It's not about I feel like it is about the relationship, and then it does become about doing certain things, but it's not that that's prescribed. When you exist and stand in something, then you're gonna act different. You're gonna do different. You're gonna develop different. Okay? Anyway, I'll move on. The last couple things, never he has said never willingly hand your body over or the body of your friends. The struggle and like just saying the struggle has meaning, especially with ancestors being divided up into policy and stock. And I think he was just trying to give like I feel like he was peppering advice into the black experience, like never willingly hand your body over or like the body of your friends, and the struggle has meaning, like um don't forget how they transfixed our bodies into sugar, cotton, tobacco, and gold. Slavery is not a chapter in your redemptive history, but fuel for the machination of America. Like, it's like little stuff, not little stuff like that, but like some of the things, the way he wrote it, it's just very, very much rich. And I'm just glad he concludes and closes that survival and safety is not enough, because and I think I was also thinking about Black History Month. I'm just like looking at my notes, so I was thinking about Black History Month and how Black History Month is us celebrating and recognizing us, and a chance for I think people to also understand, not just recognize how integral Black history is to world history, not just American histories, and not just how integral we are to history, but the things that we continue to do and be in education and art and policy too. I had wrote in my notes, how much has our movement and culture evolved and transformed the zeitgeist? I don't know what that was. That was creepy. A little flicker. But zeitgeist is like the spirit of the times. It's the zeitgeist is the shaping of the times. Because I was talking to students last week. Because I was like, Nina Simone, she definitely said reflect the times, but there's also a need to understand the call to shape the times, right? And it's just like, so what they're gonna like. I feel like I had wrote like a no nuance Nelly comment, like so what? They're just gonna use Black history to understand and discern what's good and evil, like type thing. Because I remember someone was talking about like, oh, Black History Month is just as much for us as it is other people. They get to learn and understand the intricacies and complexities of like culture and heritage and music um and how much intellectually repressed African contributions are in the larger scheme of the world, right? And I don't think and I don't and that's why I was just like, I don't think it's just like, oh, they understand between good and evil. It's active like redeeming themselves. I was just like, I think you help you can only help yourself knowing how histories are tied to where you stand now in the present moment. And I know like one thing I've been saying for the past couple months or yeah, almost years, like I often feel like as like Black people especially, we live our past now. But it's like I know some African scholars have gotten into that, like Diongo and different essayists when it comes to Zamani or the Kiswahili like philosophy around time. And I know that there's a lot of discussions on the colonization of time as well. And I think that's what I would hope that reflecting on history opens people up to, not just a decolonization of their mind. Like that's so cool. But it's also a like a complete revolution of the spaces and like structures that are occupying our lives right now. And I say occupy because like it's occupying. Anyway, I think this book, because as heavy as it was heavy, it reminded me a lot actually of Heavy by what's his name? Sorry, I had the poster out there. Can't say lemon. Heavy by him. I love his essays, and that's what this book reminded me of too. Because while text can be heavy, I think it's also a reminder. Like I said, continue to shape the times, and don't let people think that you can't, or like any contribution is minimal or adverse or not worthy. Like just definitely make a decision about that, right? But I think number 2, I'm reminded of a book I read by Alice Walker. The book by Alice Walker is called Hard Times Require Furious Dancing. And it's a collection of poems by her. And she talks about personal and global challenges, including grief and war. And the furious dancing part is finding joy and strength even in difficult times. And again, like kind of like what the author was getting at, like, and I think that's another reason why he referenced Christianity. He was just like, I feel like I'm missing something, because in some way, shape, or form, he has said how are people going through A, B, and C, and then still got peace, still got joy type of thing. And a lot of those are explained if you like, crack open the book. And so I think the good book, the word, Um, especially accessing those spiritual realms and those spiritual inheritances. So, anyway, well, I'm gonna go. That was my review. I don't know if I rated the book online. It's one of those books like I read. I forgot which book I read. But sometimes it's like I can't rate this book. Like it's not a book that requires you to like rate it. It's like it's just required reading. Just read it, you know?